Hi, I'm Laura from Inventors and Makers and Little Steamers, and in this series of 2 short videos for TTS, I'm going to show you how you can use their amazing STEAM Discovery Centre in your setting using resources that you'll already have. So STEAM, if you didn't know, stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts and Maths. You might be used to hearing the word STEM, but arts is often added in the middle because of the importance of creativity and design in the STEM fields. But also, including arts makes the subjects a bit more early years friendly too. So STEAM learning is being used more and more in the early years, and there's loads of positive research to back up taking that approach. But today, I just want to give you some ways that you can get started with this great piece of equipment. It's easy to assemble, it's sturdy, and it's extremely versatile too. The most important thing to remember as that your children are discovering and using the Discovery Centre is that STEAM learning in the early years is all about self-directed play and exploration, just as you're used to across all the other subjects. So think of your children as little scientists conducting experiments when they're playing, and encourage them to develop those sort of inquisitive minds. So you might have noticed already that there are 2 main parts to this. There's this balance part across the top, and then there's this central column which has a track running down it. So in this first video, I'm going to show you a few ideas for this top balance section. Of course, the play should always be child-led. So these ideas that I'll share suggest some simple resources or equipment that you can leave out, and the ways that children might use those resources. But as we all know, the children may do something entirely different and surprise us. In fact, they almost definitely will. And obviously that's okay too. So like I said, this part is like a balance scale, and most of your children are going to understand how it works pretty much straight away because it's exactly like a seesaw. So one of the first things that you could do is hang down a bucket from each end. So if I put one on the end over here and one on the end over here. You obviously don't actually need buckets. You could use bags, or you could just tie on some containers with string, anything that can be a container to put things in. And then the children can decide what they'd like to put in the buckets. And you could leave out a few resources for them to choose from, like maybe wooden balls or blocks, or even toys. They could weigh different toys, and they'll be able to put them into the different buckets and make opposite ends go up and down. So for example, let's put this ball in here. Oh, and maybe 2 of these sticks in here. There we go. They might even naturally start to work with other children with one on each end. And of course, this is going to lead into a really rich mathematical and scientific discussion as they think about which end is heavier, using that comparative language, counting objects, thinking about their relative size or relative weight. And if you've got some extra buckets left to one side, they might start to add those to different places too. Maybe add in a second bucket. You might even ask them to make predictions that they can test by asking what they think will happen before they add something into the bucket. If you want to get the children to get a bit more complicated with their explorations, you could see what happens when you move the bucket closer to the centre point, the fulcrum. So right now the 2 balls are the same weight, they're balanced, they're equal. If I move this bucket in, now that end goes down. They might already be able to predict that from what they know about where they sit on a seesaw and how that changes it. Of course, there are also so many other things that you could do here, like using blocks or cylinders that fit across these top sections, or putting things into the scales themselves. Things can fit inside. It's such a versatile resource because by leaving out just a few simple resources like these ones that I've shown you, you can get so many different kinds of exploration, and children can maybe explore something different every time that they come back to it. So as adults, you can help by asking questions around what they're doing and modelling that language. So who is heavier, the teddy bear or the robot toy? Or encouraging predictions. What do you think will happen if I take this bucket off? Or maybe to prompt further exploration, how many balls do you think we might need in that end to make it go down to be heavier? Okay, so that is all the ideas around the balance section of the STEAM Discovery Centre. Those were just going to get you started really. But in my next video, I'll give you some simple ideas that you can use with this central ramp track section. So I'm Laura from Inventors and Makers and Little Steamers. You can check out more STEAM classes, workshops and all sorts of resources on my website inventorsandmakers.com. Hopefully see you in my next video. Thanks for watching.